Hello everyone, it's Brian and Keem here, and this is my first live stream. It is December 1st, and it is about 10:15 p.m. at night. So, anyways, I know I was supposed to upload this or start with this stream 15 minutes prior, but my internet was down, and I don't really plan on making this a long stream or anything. And unfortunately, my internet connection isn't that great. I hope this doesn't shut down or anything, but I'm just, waiting for people to get here. But, until then, I'm just going to talk about, I guess, where The Walking Dead currently is. And by the way, let me know if you guys can hear me because I really want to make sure that it's working properly. So basically, you can ask me anything. It could be Walking Dead. It can be you know, hobbies that I have. You can ask questions. This is a free for all. You can even ask me about the Telltale games or the comics. It can be about pretty much anything. So basically, while I'm still waiting for people to get here, I want to talk about where The Walking Dead Season 10 is going. So I don't think Season 10 is as good as Season 9 was, at least not the first half, but I am excited to see the second half. So yeah, and I mean, as far as the mid-season finale, I think it was a really good episode, but oh wait, looks like we already got something. Hey Brian, how are you doing tonight? By Epic Zombie Killer, I am doing pretty good, and even better now that I finally got this stream up and working. And thanks for showing up, Epic Zombie Killer. I'm doing pretty good. Just a little bit nervous. It's my first live stream, but and also I have, a big day tomorrow. So I just, hoping it goes well. But thanks, Epic Zombie Killer. How are you doing today? Or tonight, I should say. By the way, Epic Zombie Killer, you can hear me, right? Epic Zombie Killer says my favorite character is Daryl. Well, that's he's actually I think my third favorite character. My favorite character currently in the story is Michonne, but my favorite character has always been Glenn. Throughout the whole show, he says, Epic Zombie Killer says, I'm doing good, and he says, yes. Alright, guess, I'm gonna, yeah, thanks for coming, Epic Zombie Killer. I really appreciate it. So, if you have anything, that you want to ask me about The Walking Dead or the comics, the show, the Telltale games, or, something about me, this is a free for all, it's perfectly fine. So, I believe you said yes because the audio is working, and I'm glad. Just want to make sure that, the audio is not having problems. So, anyways, I guess I'm still waiting on some more people and responses. But yeah. Oh, from Epic Zombie Killer, I ordered a Walking Dead poster. Okay, that's pretty interesting. What poster was it? I know that I know that I think I have a poster, but it's more the comic version. I don't really have a TV poster, and I know that some people like Chan and Dan, they have lots of posters, especially with like Daryl, and I'm guessing that's probably what you ordered. You probably got a Daryl poster, if I had to guess, and that would be cool. I wish I had a Daryl poster, actually any poster really. So yeah, and Epic Zombie Killer, don't be afraid to ask me any questions. You know, uh, I'm more than happy to answer them. So yeah, man, don't be shy, and I'm just. Oh, says It's Epic Zombie Killer says it's of the iconic shot from the season 1 of The Highway. Oh yeah, that's a really good poster. That's a very it's so nostalgic, and it's crazy. That is a I'm surprised you were able to get it. I mean, isn't it expensive now? I mean, I'm pretty sure like anything about season 1 is like way more expensive now because it's been, 9 years. So, yeah, good job getting a poster like that. I would think something like that is expensive, but I guess maybe it's not, or I don't know, maybe it is or isn't. Can you let me know? So, anyways, oh, I hope my live stream is just having some issues. Error, YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. I hope it doesn't crash on me or anything. Epic Zombie Killer says it was on Amazon for around the cheap price. Well, that's pretty interesting. What exactly do they go for? Like, is it like $20 or something? So yeah, that's pretty interesting. You got a season 1 poster for a cheap price. I'm surprised someone didn't try to sell you it for like way more expensive deal. So yeah, yeah, you can get anything off Amazon. Epic Zombie Killer says season 9 was amazing. I have it on DVD. Well, that's great, Epic Zombie Killer. I wish I had the Walking Dead, series on DVD, but unfortunately, I don't have a job, and I mean, actually, I do, but I just got one, and it just hasn't been easy for me. I've been trying to be careful what I spend on, but yeah, season 9 was amazing. Season 9 has got to be, one of the best seasons in years. And currently, even with season 10, I still think it's better. So out of like season 7, 8, 9, 10, currently season 9 was definitely the best. Although I did have, my unfortunate problems with it. I did have some issues with it, some mistakes I think that were made, but it was still, yeah, it was an amazing season. Yeah, man, it's crazy. That's the last season with Rick. You know, we're never gonna get Rick again in the show. And Epic Zombie Killer says I have all seasons from 1 to 8 on DVD. So, what? Wow, that's impressive, Epic Zombie Killer. Yeah, that's all the seasons. Yeah, man, it's interesting. Epic Zombie Killer, do you want to ask me anything? You know, it's up to you. I mean, you know, no pressure or anything, but with this live stream, I think if you can ask a question, I think it would really help the live stream going further because I'm just talking and just ranting, or not ranting, but just, trying to talk. I don't know how to talk like as much, with little comments. So Epic Zombie Killer says season 10 is good, but Carol is annoying me. Yeah, I can understand that, Epic Zombie Killer. It's when I look back at season 9 and when Carol is reacting to the Pike deaths, the death of Henry, I still, part of me can't blame her, unfortunately, you know what I mean? Like, part of me doesn't really blame Carol for, acting like that because, you know, she lost basically her son, so I don't really, hate her. I can't hate her after what she's been through. Epic Zombie Killer says, hey, overall, how do you feel about TV Alpha versus the comic Alpha? Oh, sorry, the comic version. So I definitely okay, so I like TV Alpha more, like her performance, but I like comic Alpha more with appearance. Hey, Dan's reviews. He says, hey, hi Dan. It's good that you're here. I finally got the internet working. Glad you were able to come. Deadwalker777, thanks for coming, man. He says, what do you think an A and a B means for the CRM? Yeah, that's a really good question, Deadwalker777. So apparently when Rick was like injured, so like she said that Rick was a B, I think. Jadis, she said that Rick was a B. So B must mean like someone who's injured, or I don't know. It's just even I don't understand it fully, unfortunately. I wish I had more to tell you, but the CRM has got to be like the most, head scratching thing in all of The Walking Dead. I mean, like she wanted Gabriel to be, I think, like a B, but then she knocked him out and tried to make him an A. So I'm really not sure. Like some people think it means bitten, but I'm not really sure. So Epic Zombie Killer says, "Hello, Dan. Reviews," and Dan says, "Happy to be here." Well, I'm glad. Well, I'm happy you're here, Dan. Thank you so much for coming. This really means a lot to me. And yeah, like I said, sorry I'm late about this, guys. It's like 15 minutes late. Um, Epic Zombie Killer says, "By the way, I'm excited for The Walking Dead work. I have high hopes." Oh, sorry, World Beyond. Sorry about. Sorry. I have high hopes for it. Yeah, I am pretty excited too, but unfortunately, I feel like there's still going to be some elements in Fear. So yeah, I hope. It does look a little bit promising, like some of the styles, but I feel like maybe the actors, maybe some people won't like the actors. All right, so Dan says, "What are you most excited for? Fear the Walking Dead, Fear season 6 or season 1 of The World Beyond?" You know, great question, Dan. And I have to say, right now at the moment, I'm just a little bit more excited for The World Beyond season 1 than Fear season 6, because like The World Beyond's going to give us something new and fresh, and but Fear season 6, I think it's going to be like exactly like season 5. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like season 5 left a bad taste, and it's just going to do that, while The World Beyond is, we don't really know what to expect. So thank you for the question. And Deadwalker777 says, "I think this place Michonne is going to with Virgil is part of the CRM, and we'll find out Rick is alive, and we'll go searching for him." Yeah, yeah, Deadwalker777. That's a good point. I think it's the only way for Michonne to leave, Judith and RJ behind. Unless she gets kidnapped, that's the only other way Michonne would, never see her kids again. But honestly, it's really tough to say. She has to know that Rick is alive, somehow. But the question is how. It's very interesting. Like, is Virgil gonna mention Rick, or maybe like another person or soldier there mentions him? That's a very good question, and I don't know. She has to find out Rick is alive, but then again, it's like, wouldn't she go back and tell Daryl or somebody? So that is, that's confusing. That's interesting. So thank you. Epic Zombie Killer says, "Yeah, Fear the Walking Dead season 5 was pure garbage." I mean, like, I don't disagree. I mean, I don't agree 100%, but I don't disagree either. I mean, Fear the Walking Dead season 5 was really bad. I mean, it had some good elements. There was some stuff with it. They should have used a little bit more of the CRM, and they should have had a better structure with the story. The kids were important in the first half, and now they're gone in the second half, and now I think they're gone forever. So it's like, what was the point of them? You know, and Dan Walker agrees. He says it's facts, and yeah, absolutely. Dan's review says, "Yeah, I agree with that specifically because the CRM hype they have going." Yeah, yeah, Dan, it makes sense that people are more excited for the World Beyond than Fear, because Fear was supposed to, go into the CRM a little bit more. Like The Walking Dead main show gave us a little taste, and Fear was supposed to give us that little bit more. Like, actually, no, it was supposed to give us like a good amount more, and then the Rick movies. So I don't see why, like Fear didn't use enough of the CRM. They could have at least like found an outpost or something. And if Scott Gimple really wants all the universes to connect, then he should have really ended Fear at season 5 and just have the characters go into the movies and then focus on the main show, the movies, and the World Beyond series. So yeah. Epic Zombie Killer says Q&A. Hey, how do you think Shane would have handled the Whisperers? That's a very good question. So, assuming Shane survives to the Whisperers, that is interesting. So, if Shane was in season 9 when they were coming across the Whisperers, I think that Shane, he probably would have like sent people out with like, weapons and guns and stuff. And I don't know. I don't think he would have, had. I think people would have. I think the war would have started sooner and some people would have died. But I'm not saying like it's bad. I mean, it depends if he's the leader. But that's a really good question. It's a very tough question to answer because we can never know what would have happened if this happened. You know what I mean? But that is a very good question. I think that some things would be different and like some things would be better and some things would be worse. And I definitely think the Whisper War would have started sooner, but I think they would have dealt at least like a decent blow to the Whisperers, unlike the group has done now, because they haven't done anything to the Whisperers pretty much. Dead Walker asks, "Do you think Morgan is alive or dead?" I think he's alive. Yeah, I think that. I mean, part of me thinks he's dead because of how they, did it, but I think that they are going to have him like just survive like a dumpster, fake out. Like they had to do that in season 5 for ratings, probably. So I think that like I'm just thinking Morgan is dead just so I can be surprised when he is alive. But yeah, I can't see Morgan being dead because like, well then the season 6 trailer of Fear, they're gonna have to show like Morgan, right? They're gonna have to prove he's alive. So I'm just gonna say like partially I think he's dead, but I'm holding out hope he's alive. Just to be surprised. So he says Morgan dumpster. Yeah, yeah, Dead Walker. Absolutely. Epic Zombie Killer says, "Hey Brian, this is a fun question, but would the Titanic save everyone if it was in The Walking Dead?" That is a interesting question, Epic Zombie Killer. So, that's very interesting. The thing is, the thing about like giant ships like that is like they would have to not only fuel it, but they would have to have enough food for everyone, and they would probably also come across like pirates and stuff. So I think that it would definitely be an interesting situation, and there would still be some threats here and there, but I think that it would be interesting. A lot of people would be alive, but there would also be issues on a boat. Like how I mean, like Titanic, a big ship. Like how do you maintain a ship that big, and how do you feed enough people? So I think there would be issues there. I think there would be a lot, of conflict inside the Titanic, but you would be safe from outside threats. So that's basically what I think would happen. So there would be more threats on the inside and trouble, but you'll be safer, from outside threats on a Titanic. So thank you for the question. And Dan agrees with Deadwalker. And Epic Zombie Killer says, "Hey Brian, so do you see Gabriel getting his comic death, or will that death go to somebody else?" That's a very good question, Epic Zombie Killer. I've been thinking about this, and honestly, I don't know. So even though Gabriel's blind in one eye, I really think he's gonna get that death. It wasn't Sadiq, and I thought it was gonna be Sadiq, and it wasn't. And it's not gonna be Eugene. I can't see it, and it's obviously not gonna be Rosita or any other woman. I mean, like Negan bashing in with like Glenn Abraham's head, they're not gonna give a death like that to a main female character. It's just going to leave a bad taste in people's mouths, and it's just not going to work. It has to be a male character, and honestly, like I mean, it could be Aaron or somebody, but I feel like Gabriel is just the best choice. They wanted us to think it was Sadiq, but then it's going to be Gabriel like the comic. So thank you for the question. Eastside Badger, hey, it's good to see you. Glad you can make it. Shane would have fathered Gamma's sister's baby. Yeah, yeah, good joke. All right. Dan says, "Do you think Fear would be okay without Morgan if Alicia leads?" I definitely be up for that. Yeah, Dan, I would definitely be up for that. Like Morgan had so much time in season 4 and 5, and it was good, but I mean, like at least certain parts, but he definitely took the spotlight away from Alicia, Madison, and Nick because Madison and Nick died in the first half of season 4, so, and Alicia, they didn't know what to do with her character, so it's kind of tricky if Alicia leaves because, she's still one of the younger characters, she's still a young adult, so I don't know, I can't really see her bossing out like John Dory and June and, Dwight. I can't really see her doing that, but maybe that could work. So if Morgan like disappears in season 6, and then I'm okay if Alicia leads it, obviously, but also they got to get a better writing team. So thank you, Dan, for the question. Deadwalker777 says, I'm going to do a first impression of a video for World Beyond. You guys should check it out. Talk to you later, Brian. Okay, Deadwalker777, thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. So, yeah, man, take care. Bye. Alright, so Eastside Badger says, definitely Alicia should be the leader and The Walking Dead should have killed off Morgan. Yeah, I definitely think, I mean, no disrespect towards Lenny James, he's an amazing actor, but like 100% of the time I would have had him die instead of Carl, and yeah, I just don't understand that, like, yeah, they should have either, maybe they could have kept Morgan in the main show, that would have been cool to see, and yeah, I mean, The Walking Dead, it has issues with who it should and shouldn't kill off, and who was just leaving the show. So yeah, thank you, Eastside Badger. Dan says, yeah, then maybe Madison would have still been in the show, but I could be wrong about that. Yeah, I think Madison, I think Kim Dickens would have wanted to stay. I mean, it depends. I think she was willing to share the spotlight, with Morgan. I think she would have been, interested in that. Epic Zombie Killer says, Q&A, hey Brian, how do you see Maggie reacting to Enid, Jesus, and Tara being dead? Yeah, that's a really good question, Epic Zombie Killer. Honestly, I hope the show doesn't do something like where it's like, oh, she already knows, that they're dead. I'm hoping that we get to see Maggie reacting to them because honestly, not only were these important people to her, they were also like one of the few people left alive who had some connection to Glenn. So I definitely hope we see her reacting. I hope they don't like skip through it like what happened with Carl. We didn't get to see Maggie reacting to Carl's death back in season 8. So I definitely think that, she'll come back, she'll help the group out, and then, eventually they're going to have to sit her down and tell her what happened. So, yeah, thank you for the question. So Deadwalker says to Epic Zombie Killer, I think she probably already knows due to letters from Georgie because she's probably getting some from the hilltop too. I don't know, Deadwalker. I mean, they said that Maggie was getting letters, but where are they taking them? I mean, how are they transporting the letters? And I think they said like, that they haven't gotten any back from Maggie, so it's possible that like no one's getting letters. So I'm not really sure. That's a really weird situation. My opinion, Madison's death is what killed the show. It's definitely one of the main reasons Epic Zombie Killer Why Fear is doing horribly. I mean, Nick's death was like, I mean, it was amazing. I mean, the actor wanted to leave, Frank Delane wanted to leave, and I don't blame the show. You know, I don't blame the show for. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't blame. Yeah, I don't blame the show for killing off Nick because the actor wanted to leave. Like, like what would you do? So, it makes sense to kill him off. But Madison, like, there was no point to that. Like, if like killing off Carl was the biggest mistake in this show, killing off Madison was maybe the biggest mistake in Fear. Even though she wasn't a big character, like I mean, she was a big character, but she wasn't a great character. Like, I don't know why the writers think to kill off, characters that like they don't know what to do with. It's called good writing. I mean, sure, great writing is kind of hard, but that's what they're paid for. I mean, they're paid to write well. Why are they killing off the characters that they should be writing with? It's like, I mean, come on. You know. So yeah, Dan agrees definitely. Eastside Badger says Scott Gimple killed Fear. I mean, it's definitely looking like that, Eastside Badger. I mean, Scott Gimple, he really started killing The Walking Dead in season 7 and 8, and then Fear, like season 4 and 5, it's just been getting worse. I don't know. I mean, I hope, you know, he hasn't killed it, but it's definitely looking like it might die a slow death. So yeah, I think I'm not trying to hate on Scott Gimple. I think he is, when he wants to be, a very good writer, but someone needs to keep him in check. Like he needs to like listen to fans and like once in a while and tap in like that comic like fan and slash writer and just give something that's good. Don't give something just for ratings and just to get people talking. Just make a good story. So yeah. And Epic Zombie Killer says, "Oh, he asked Dan, you should do more streams." Okay, and Dan says he better not mess up with the movies if they happen. Yeah, Dan, I agree. I really hope that Scott Gimple doesn't mess up with the movies either. And I'm surprised they're taking this long. Like, why are they taking this long? It's just they haven't started filming yet, and I think it's possible Andrew Lincoln doesn't even want to do it anymore. I mean, that would be shocking if like they agreed on 3 movies. I don't even know why. Like Scott Gimple or whoever said that. Like that was just like too soon. Like they haven't even started filming the first movie, and you say there's gonna be 3? Like come on. So yeah, and I really hope he doesn't mess with the movies. I hope they don't feel like Fear season 4 or 5. So yeah, and Eastside Badger agrees. And Dan says, yeah, it that would be fun. I'll mention it tomorrow in the Let's Chit Chat video. Well, I'll be sure to check it out, Dan. I'll be sure to watch your next video coming up. So it looks like we're about 26, 27 minutes in. If you guys wanna, I'm thinking about ending it in the next 4 or 5 minutes or so. So if you guys wanna get in some last minute, comments or questions, please ask away. Yeah. So I think I'm gonna end it soon. I know he got in his own head. Yeah, I agree, Eastside Badger. I mean, he made like the governor even better. You know what I mean? Like, or just as good as season 3. Just as good to better. And then like he did some things great, like the cannibals, the Terminus people. He made that amazing. But then when it comes to like creating his own characters, like the Dawn and the cops, like they were just not interesting villains. And then he finally got Negan, who's the best, villain, in the comic, and it just fell flat, he just didn't know what to do with him. Was Negan serious? Was he like, or was he like comic booky? Like he couldn't pick a side. Like I just don't know. But yeah, Scott Gimple definitely. I'm thinking. I mean, like I should talk more about the good things he's done. I mean, like season 4 and 5 had a lot of good moments, and I really like season 6, but there were just holes in it. So yeah, Dan says I'll make this the last question. All right, Dan. Well, thanks for stopping by, and yeah, thank you all for we still have a couple more minutes. I'm just letting you guys know, but thank you all for stopping by. Epic Zombie Killer, Dead Walker, Eastside Badger, and Dan. I really appreciate it. I'm glad you guys could stop by for my first live stream. Yeah, I really did not think I was going to be able to do it tonight because my Wi-Fi went down. So, yeah, I really appreciate it. So, back to what Eastside Badger said, I guess while I wait for another question or comment. So, Gimple, yeah, he definitely, season 5, I think, is when The Walking Dead was like super high. I mean, yes, the season 7 premiere had the most viewers, but that was just because of the ratings trap, with the season 6 cliffhanger. And yeah, that wasn't really fair. Oh, Dan asked, do you think Negan will leave like in the comics, but if he stays, what do you think they're going to do with him? Alright, thanks for the question, Dan. So, this is going to be maybe a little controversial, but I could see like when I think he's eventually going to help out in the Whisper War, but like after that, I can't see how much story he's going to get. I could see Negan unfortunately leaving the show too. I could see Jeffrey Dean Morgan, like in season 11 or so. I mean, I think he might have some part in the Commonwealth, but like I could see him wanting to leave, like the actor, and unfortunately they might have to either kill him off or whatever because, I mean, with Lydia, I don't think they know what to do with Lydia either. And she pretty much, her story is kind of flat, and Negan's unfortunately is going to be flat too. I mean, killing off Negan would be crazy, but I definitely think the show could do it. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time they killed off a character who was still alive in the comics. That you know what I mean? Like they die in the show like way sooner, or even though they're alive in the comics. So I definitely could see it happening. I think Negan is okay for another season or two, but honestly, that's I think pretty much it. Eastside Badger says, "Great first stream, enjoyed it." Well, thank you, Eastside Badger. I really appreciate it. I'm glad this worked out. And Dan says, "Yeah, me too. I'm up for more." Well, thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. I'm definitely thinking about doing another one sometime in the middle of this month, I think. Sometime, like around December 15th to 17th, something like that. Okay. Epic Zombie Killer says, "I mean, Fear has great characters. I just wish the writing was better." Oh, absolutely, Epic Zombie Killer. I mean, like, how can you make a story with great characters but just not great writing? Like, I don't know. It's crazy. But yeah, I mean the writing it's got to get better. I mean, what do these writers get paid for? I mean, if the fans like, I don't know like what you write, but honestly, like you could write, you could probably write better than a lot of these writers. I mean, all of you guys probably could, because the fans are we're technically at times we're the ones who know more because we care about the universe, the lore. We want it to be consistent and you know right with the world. We don't, there can't be issues, in the story and like plot holes, all that stuff. We care about this stuff, but the writers, they'll do plot holes, for the sake of money or, just because, whatever. So, it's not fair to us. It's not fair to the story. And yeah, exactly. And Eastside Badger says, "I definitely think JDM will leave. Rumor has it he has a new show." Yeah, yeah, I heard something like that. I don't understand why The Walking Dead can't like keep quiet what, the other actors are doing. Like, can't they like pay the actors to like keep him more silent or something? I don't know. It's just one of those things that's a little bit weird. Eastside Badger says, "We had 16 weeks of walkers and now it's like, what do we do now?" LOL. Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you need something, I don't know if you played it, but there's the Telltale games, you know, there's always like some type of Walking Dead out there, but yeah, man, it's like, what do we do now until like, I think February 23rd? I mean, that's a long wait, unfortunately, but, I'm sure it's going to be worth it. Epic Zombie Killer says, "It's because of the two showrunners, they don't care about the fans." Yeah, that's true, unfortunately. The thing is, with shows like this now, it's no longer about the fans, it's just about what's making the most profit. So, unfortunately, that's true. Like, businesses cut corners, and it looks like even, that happens in the writing team. I mean, you get great seasons, and then you get terrible seasons, and you can see why because they're just trimming down the budget. And, they're doing it not only in the show and like the camera quality, but they're doing it with the writing too. And it's really sad, but it's true. And Dan says, "I would miss Negan though." Yeah, part of me would miss him too, Dan. I mean, a part of me still like just resents him for killing Glenn, when he didn't have to. But that's the thing that makes him such an interesting character, kind of like, I guess, like Jaime Lannister from Game of Thrones. Like, a character who's done really bad things, but you sometimes want them to win because there's an even more bigger threat. There's even a more despicable person than them, and you want to see them win at least against that person. So, yeah. And Eastside Badger agrees with Epic. Dan says, "I wish I ran Fear sometimes because I would change so much about it. LOL." Yeah, Dan, same. I mean, that would be great. If the fans could have a say, have an input in, what happens in the story or like what studios do. I mean, I know it's irrelevant, but like look what happened with the Sonic trailer. Like fans spoke out and they actually changed it. You know what I mean? They admitted their mistakes and they actually did something about it. And but unfortunately, it doesn't always work. Like in Game of Thrones, they wanted season 8 redone, and obviously they're not going to do that because I think season 8 had like a budget of 100 million, and the actors were tired too, and it was just not great. So yeah, I mean, it would be nice if any of us could run Fear or The Walking Dead and stuff because our input would definitely be valuable. So yeah, Eastside Badger says I would have left Fear in Los Angeles and kept it in the beginning of the apocalypse. Yeah, yeah, Eastside Badger. That's a good point. I mean, they just like Fear season 1 to 3 was like 2 months, like all 3 seasons, and then they just skipped like 3 years, like just like that. It's like, I mean, I don't know. It was a mistake, to line up with Morgan in the Fear group because it just doesn't work. So yeah, I mean, now they're in Texas and it's just so boring. At least Los Angeles is, colorful and stuff, but Texas, it just looks so boring in the show. Epic Zombie Killer says, The Walking Dead as like The Walking Dead as a brand will never die. Yeah, I think The Walking Dead could live on, but part of me is like, well, should they do like a reboot or something? Like eventually in the TV series, like in 20, 50 years, like could they do like a reboot? So yeah, I mean, like, is it gonna be like Star Wars? Because like the zombies gotta die out, eventually. So I think Epic Zombie Killer, they need to do more Walking Dead games. So I don't know if you guys have seen like, Detroit Become Human, games like that, like from Quantic Dream, but they need to start making games like that where, I mean, yes, they made the Telltale games, but I think the Walking Dead TV show needs a great game. You know, there was Survival Instinct, and that was terrible. The Walking Dead, it's got a lot of shows and movies and stuff now, but I think they gotta start like with a game eventually, you know. So yeah. And Dan says, love it in LA. I would have kept it that for longer. Yeah, Dan, I agree. I think that they just should have. Let's see. I think okay, so getting out of Los Angeles in the first season, I agree because it makes sense for the story. But they should have at least like in season 2 of the main show, they should have kept the survivors outside the city or like around the limits or something. Like maybe the Abigail is broken and then Strand and them need to get parts for it to go to their place, like they're living outside the city or something. I don't know. They could have just done anything else but stay on a boat for half a season. Like that's not right. Yeah. And Epic Zombie Killer says, yeah, Fear would have stayed on the West Coast. Yeah, I mean I thought that's what's supposed to make it different, than the main show, but now it's in Texas, and it's just, I mean, it feels like, I don't know, like season 7 or 8 of the main show did. So I don't know. It's just, I mean, the West Coast. I mean, there's a lot of things, in the West Coast, right? There's like mountains and like there's great sites. But in Texas, like, are there great sites? Like, I'm not an expert. I don't know this stuff, but I think like we could have seen some amazing shots, in like the Los Angeles area in the West Coast. They could have stayed there more, and that would have been interesting. I mean, so yeah, good comment. Eastside Badger says, Epic, The Walking Dead will end up like Star Trek. It's definitely possible, Eastside Badger. It's definitely possible. I think that, I mean, I feel like the main show might end in season 12, and Fear is gotta end in the next season or two. And the movies, I don't even know about them. And I could see like 2 or 3 seasons of The World Beyond, but I don't know. That's pretty much it. Epic Zombie Killer says it's AMC's biggest property. Yeah, I understand that, and I agree, Epic Zombie Killer. It's just that when when you take your biggest property and you make it like 4 times bigger, it's a bit of an issue because now the quality is going down, because they're spreading themselves out, too much. They're not focusing on the story enough and the characters. I mean, it's supposed to be like this amazing world that, needs to, be done down to the smallest detail, but, now because it's AMC's biggest property, unfortunately it's just a cash cow. And I'm mixed between that. Like, I want more Walking Dead, but not if it's like Fear, like horrible Fear. So yeah. And Eastside Badger agrees. Dan says they don't want to let it go. Let's be honest. Yeah, Dan, I agree. It's just it's making them money, so obviously, why would they stop? Epic Zombie Killer says, I know, I agree, but you do remember the walkers are played by people. I'm not really sure what you mean by that. Like, yeah, the walkers are played by people, but in the story they have to die out eventually, like 20 years in the apocalypse. Epic Zombie Killer says like they should have done more webisodes like Torn Apart, Cold Storage, and the Oath. Yeah, I gotta be honest, Epic Zombie Killer, I hated the Oath one because the hospital they used in that story, they said it was the same one that Rick woke up in, but it wasn't. Like they actually like built like a horrible version of it like in a studio place, and it's just it doesn't look the same at all. And you can look in season one and then look at the Oath. The hospitals look completely different, and there's a lot of contradictions, and it just proof that AMC didn't do the homework, like us fans. Like so yeah, as far as Torn Apart, like the Bicycle Girl, the woman Hannah, that was a good one. Cold Storage, I gotta be honest, I didn't like that so much. I just felt like, what did it do for the story? Like, at least we got backstory in the first webisode, but Cold Storage, like, all we learned is that, Rick and Lori had a storage locker in Atlanta. So yeah, Eastside Badger says, agree Dan, I bet AMC reboots The Walking Dead in 5 to 10 years with Judith or RJ or both as the leads. Yeah, I could see that happening, but technically that wouldn't be like a reboot. That would be like, a sequel series, but yeah, I mean that would they might as I guess they would, but like would Judith be like 20 or something? Because like that would be crazy, you know. But then again, it's like if they do something like that, I don't think Daryl would still be in it. Like would they have to kill him off? I don't know. Dan says Judith as lead, I'd be happy with that even now. I just love her character. Yeah, I agree, Dan. I really like Judith as long as they just don't let her use Rick's cold python. I just cannot stand it. It's just so unrealistic and it's cringy and it doesn't work. Like that's one of the reasons why Carl would have been better. Like one of the reasons in that situation because Carl it would make sense because Carl would be like he would be like 23 if he was still alive. So, him shooting that gun makes more sense than a 9 and 10-year-old. So, yeah, Judith is great. I just don't want them to make her like too superhuman. You know what I mean? Make her, interesting, relatable, have it work. So, yeah. Epic Zombie Killer says Q&A. I'm surprised that Dog has survived all of season 9 and the first half of season 10. Yeah, I agree. If Dog dies, we riot. I'm gonna be so mad if he dies. And I mean, it kind of makes sense. Dog has not been in super dangerous situations. Like Dog in season 10. I don't think he was in really dangerous situations, but he was in a few in season 9. But he's tough. I mean, Daryl's his owner. I mean, some of that toughness must have rubbed off on him. Yeah. And oh, hey, Riptide reacts. Oh, it's good to. I'm glad you came. I don't remember seeing you. I hope you have a great time. You have a great time here, Brian. What you're doing is great, and I hope you have a lot of fun. Well, thank you, Riptide reacts. I appreciate it, man. I mean, yeah, thanks for coming. I was not expecting you, but yeah, thanks. And yeah, this is fun. Thank you all for coming. I mean, this live stream has been, really, really, really great. I was not expecting it to do it, and yeah, man, I just appreciate it. So thank you. Dan's review says, "Sick with the sword." LOL. Yeah, yeah, Dan. I like that Judith has the sword down. As long as she doesn't have the cold python down, like that's where I'm gonna call, fake on. So the sword is good, but the gun, too much. Epic Zombie Killer says, I mean, Dog is becoming a huge character already. I mean, he's got his own pop. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Epic Zombie Killer. I mean, you gotta love Dog. I mean, what's not to love? I mean, he's a good boy. I mean, it's like if this was an anime, like he would be called Best Boy or something. So yeah, I mean, he's just. I mean, I hope he survives. And he's got his own pop, and I saw it, and that's a really good pop that he has. And I definitely hope that he survives. Unfortunately, I don't know. It it's got to be a little hard to have a real life dog, so I hope they don't kill him off because there might be issues with animals like on set because it's like more challenging. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So I think Dog. I mean, I wouldn't say he's a huge character, but I definitely say he's a popular character, and he's definitely like a cult favorite among the fans. So he's kind of like the next T Dog or who else? Uh, or the next Morales, like just popular, you know. Epic Zombie Killer says, I'm guessing they gave her the Colt because the writers don't want to get rid of it. Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense. It's Rick's iconic weapon, but still, it's kind of like it's just too much. You know, I mean, couldn't they have just had Judith like put it in like a case and then when she's old enough to take it? I mean, imagine season 12, Judith is like 16 or something and like she takes Rick's Cold Python out of a box and it's been like years to us and to her or to the story. And imagine she takes it out, like the fans would be blown away. But just her having Rick's Cold Python is like, oh, here's the invincible gun that's never gonna go away. I mean, it's just a gun. Like I get it, it's Rick's iconic weapon, but giving it to Judith doesn't make her iconic. It's just a weapon. She needs to have her own identity and have her own iconic weapons and stuff. So yeah, Eastside Badger says love dog and he's cleaner than Daryl. LOL. Yeah, good joke. Yeah, that's true. Honestly, I do rip on Daryl for being like never baiting and being smelly, but sometimes Norman Reedus, like on set, like when he's acting and Daryl the character, sometimes he does look clean in certain shots. So I'm always confused about that. It's like, did he actually bathe or something? We just never saw it before. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's hard to say, but yeah. So thank you. Epic Zombie Killer says, also, it's Norman's actual dog in real life, so I don't think Norman would allow them to kill it. Yeah, that's a good point. I wonder if like Norman Reedus said like if you kill off my dog then I'm leaving the story and AMC was like no please don't we'll do anything you say just don't leave you're the reason a large reason people are still watching the show. So yeah, that would be really funny if that was true. And yeah, I don't think I knew that that was his actual dog in real life. So thank you Epic Zombie Killer for telling me that. I mean, I thought he was just a dog they bring on set once in a while, you know. But yeah, thank you for telling me that. I honestly did not know that. And yeah, I mean, if that's true, if Norman is telling them, hey, don't kill off the dog, because, like I would have an issue with that. I mean, if Norman Reedus has an issue with something, the writers are going to do whatever it takes, to make sure they stay on The Walking Dead is as comfortable as possible. Epic Zombie Killer says, by the way, Judith is a huge character. She's been around since season 3 and 4. Yeah, that's true, Epic Zombie Killer, but she was a baby, and it's always confused me what her age is because in season 3 and 4, well, season 3 she's a newborn, and then season 4 she still kind of looks like a newborn, but it's been like a couple months, and then season 8, which is like only like 3-4 months after those season 4, um, you know, she is like 3 years old, and that always bugged me. But it's kind of hard to say Judith is a huge character because I don't know. It's just that she's been a baby, you know what I mean? So it's kind of tricky. It's like yes and no, you know. I mean, it's like is Morales a huge character because he's been around since season 1, like episode 2, yeah, Guts. So was he a huge character, a huge death? Like I don't know how to answer that. But yeah, thank you for saying that. Dan says, I didn't know either, but that's awesome. Yeah, I agree. Epic Zombie Killer says, no season 3, episode 4, Killer Within. Yes, yeah, sorry, Epic Zombie Killer. I thought you meant like season 3 to 4, Judith has been there. Yeah, sorry. But yeah, that's true. It's kind of hard though to really get a sense. Like, I mean, if she is a big character, because like I said, does that make Morales a big character? Because he's been around since season 1. I mean, yes, she was around for a while, but she didn't have much time. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of tricky to answer that. Like, Judith didn't really become a character until season 9. So, yeah, it's kind of tricky to answer that. But, yeah, thank you for clarifying that. I'm sorry I made a mistake. I guess I'm just a little tired, and this stream has been going on for about, wow, almost 50 minutes now. So, yeah, I did not know that. But, yeah, thank you guys. I really did not think we were going to get this long, but yeah. Epic Zombie Killer says, I'm just saying she's a Grimes legacy character. Yeah, that's true, Epic Zombie Killer. It's just that she is Shane's daughter, not Rick's. so she technically is not a Grimes by blood, but I guess I understand what you're saying, she needs to continue, but I still just wish it was Carl, because Carl, he actually, unlike Judith, he actually remembers Lori, Rick, he remembers the characters that have died in the past, but Judith, she was like 1 when Carl died, so there's no way she can remember anything. I doubt she remembers Rick, and there's no way she can remember Carl. So, yeah, I mean, I understand it. Keeping Judith, it's a smart move without Rick, without Carl, but part of me is just saying, like, I mean, technically, RJ is a, Grimes legacy character too, but I mean, they've been giving him like nothing to do. Like, I wonder why they're not doing anything with RJ. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe they just don't have something for him at the time. But, yeah. So, anyways, it looks like we're about 15 minutes now. I'm gonna finish up just a couple more. So, Eastside Badger says, "Good night, guys. Great job." Thank you, Eastside Badger. Yeah, in the next few minutes, I think I really want to wrap up, guys. So, thank you. Eastside Badger says, "Oh yeah, I think I read that. Good night, guys. Great job." Yeah. Alright, see you, Eastside Badger. Epic Zombie Killer says, "I know that's true, but she acts more like Rick than Shane." Yeah, that's true, but, well, you gotta think, like, it's because she was raised that way. If you're the child of someone who's bad, you don't become bad just by blood. And, it depends on how you're raised, If Rick had a child and that child was raised horribly, then that child will act more like the governor than Rick. It's just a matter of how you were raised. But yeah. And Dan says she needs a shotgun then, LOL. Oh, please, no, Dan. If Judith starts using a shotgun as a 10-year-old, I'm sorry, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna cringe so hard. She better not use a shotgun. I think Gabriel has a shotgun in season 10 in the second half, and I hope he keeps it because I do not want Judith holding a shotgun. It's just cringy, and yeah. Epic Zombie Killer says, but still Judith is adorable. Yeah, there's no question, Epic Zombie Killer. She is adorable. It's just that, like, are they trying to make her, like, a girl, a young girl in the zombie apocalypse with insecurities, but she's also kind of strong? Or is she supposed to be this absolutely cute, adorable, young girl? Like, I'm trying to see what they're going with. Like sometimes Judith is just like killing things like a robot, and other times, she's just, acting like a girl. So I'm just like, I'm just, trying to find a middle ground, I guess. By the way, I'm getting annoyed with Magna, says Epic Zombie Killer. Yeah, part of me is too, but I mean, she hasn't really done much in like episode 7 and 8. It was really like the Hilltop episode. I can't remember what episode it was, but it was like episode 4, I think. No, 5. And yeah, so Magna, I hope she starts getting better, just she needs to like act more like a leader and care about people, because that was one of the things in the comics she did. She cared about people, but in the show it's like she doesn't care. So they gotta fix that. Dan says, "Thanks for the awesome stream." Yeah, thanks Dan for coming, man. I really appreciate it. And I definitely want to do this again sometime before the month is over and the year is over. Like, that's crazy. So thank you, Dan. Thank you for stopping by, and I'm actually gonna have to end it real soon. Epic Zombie Killer says, "Well, I mean, Clementine in the game uses a gun at a very young age." Yeah, Epic Zombie Killer, that's true, but the thing is, Clementine in season 1 is she's 8 to 9 years old, so she only uses a pistol, I think, and that made sense. But then in season 2, she was 11, and she used a rifle, but the kickback forced her to the ground, and then I don't think she used that rifle again. She stuck to pistols. So they're making sense of it, it feels realistic. And then in season 3, I think she was like 13 or 14, and then she could use a shotgun. So I would say Judith can use a shotgun, but she has to be at least like 13 or 14, because I mean, Judith, I'll admit, she's tough, but when it comes to versus Clementine, I think Clementine wins this, like, no doubt. I mean, it's kind of tricky because Clementine is like, 17 in season 4, but I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, in a versus match, I think Clementine wins in the situation. So if Judith, does more awesome things, like, at a younger age, I'm just I'm just gonna have an issue with it because as far as like little girls in zombie apocalypse, Clementine will always be the top, one. You know, it's nothing against Judith. It's just that Clementine, has that fan base. She has that significance. Like she earned that, right? So, but Judith, like we still haven't seen too much of her. We haven't seen Judith like struggle. I guess is what I'm saying. By the way, Lee and Clementine are amazing characters. Says Epic Zombie Killer. Yeah, I agree. Epic Zombie Killer. I wish they never. I mean, part of me wishes they didn't kill off Lee because it was just so soon. I mean, I look back in season one and I'm like, man, Lee and Clementine had very little interaction. If you think about it, like not much time, but their interactions were so sweet and genuine and interesting that it just made up for the small time. And Lee still is with Clementine every step of the way. She'll never forget him, and I just love that. But it's so bittersweet, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But that bitter part is just like, man, why couldn't Lee have just lasted a little bit longer? But yeah, thanks, Epic Zombie Killer. And he says Clementine is an icon. Yeah, I agree. Like Clementine, she is more iconic than Judith. She, like I said, she earned that right. Judith still hasn't. You know, but we'll see. But like I said, Clementine holds the number one title in that situation. But yeah, guys, I think I'm gonna end it right here. I'm really sorry if you have any last minute questions, but I think I'm gonna end it here. So yeah, I thank you all for coming here. Riptide Reacts, Epic Zombie Killer, Dan, Eastside Badger, and Deadwalker777. I hope I didn't miss anyone, but yeah, I think I'm gonna end the stream here. I really gotta start getting ready for my big day tomorrow. So yeah, and sometime in the middle of this month, I'm gonna try and release a short 30-second video to explain when my next live stream is. And yeah, so thank you all for coming. I hope you all have a good night. And until next time, guys, bye.